Let's unmute myself and do that all again. Sorry for the late start, guys. Greetings, fellow geeks gamers. It seems today we're going to be doing some art today with using Krita. We're going to be doing more of the Corgi Patrol, I believe, is my plan, unless anyone has anything they want to do. So we'll definitely start with Corgi Patrol art. Hi, Leaf. Hi, Sleeps. Hi, Leaf. Hi, Toast. I don't know if either of you can even hear me at the moment. Okay, we're on the wrong tool set. We want what pencil? We want black. And we're going to be working. First, let me refresh. That's fair. When I started, it wasn't. Like, it literally was muted. I could see, and I was like, oh, I'm a dummy. You know, this is one of the few active streams, Ghost, or Toast, where you could actually see that, though. Since most of the time I use my PNG tuber. Okay. Am I done with this one? I do see something that's wrong that we can fix real quick. Plus we can clean this up a little. There we go. There we go. Now it's cleaned up. Okay. That's fair. My VODs are now being auto-captioned. I don't know how good they are, but my VODs do now have captioning, so that's something that might help. Alright, let's go to the next one now. Alright, let me set the scene. She's coming through the doorway. The door is on her right side, okay. So let's think about this. So the door... let's do this on the sketch layer. So she's in front of the doorway. Doorway. You can blame Phil and Corgi for this, by the way. Just so you know, you can blame them. Now this has been something I've been working on. Local Chinese buffet. Buffet. Pals duo. But yeah, you can blame Corgi for me doing this, because we've talked about this a lot, and I finally just started doing it. Blame, you know, that's a word to use. We have a Chinese restaurant in my town, and like I'm speaking sacrilege here, but according to the people in my town, their food is fine. It's not great. However, they are the nicest people ever, which no one will disagree on. Let's see. Let's see. How does this shape? Maverick, look at me for a second. Can you look over here? Perfect. Perfect. One more time. Okay, thank you. Good boy. Having a live model really helps. The funny thing is, we have the people who own it own like 2 other ones in my area too, like the next 2 towns over, essentially. And they're run by one family, and they're all such good people. So even though the food's fine, like I don't want to say it's bad, it's fine. Everyone goes to them nonetheless. We also had like a whole-on manhunt over them because someone broke into their place, and everyone in town was just like, no, you're getting fucking murdered for that. You do not mess with our Chinese family. A little bit of humanizing the face here. I mean, that's fine. I just need to delete right here. So remember, when you're drawing eyes from the side, the front is kind of flat. Went out of business. That sucks. Yeah, the one next to me was robbed at one point while they were visiting their family in China. And there was like a full-on, not exaggerating, a full-on like headhunt over it. People were legitimately threatening if people didn't return it that they were going to find who did it and kill them. Which is extreme. But, you know. And of course the family didn't want that to happen. They were like, it's just stuff, we could buy more stuff. They were not happy, but they didn't want people dead over it. No one was actually killed, mind you. So don't worry, it wasn't actually one of your murder documentaries. It just had the same sort of subcontext of something that could have happened, yeah. There was someone, thinking in regards to that sort of thing, there was someone in my area a while ago that turned themselves in to the police when they were running away, when they found out that people were going to hunt them down and shoot them because they were being suspected of pedophilia, which, you know, probably not the best thing to be doing in the first place, but yeah, lots of people were ready to end that individual, and so he turned himself in. So that way, he was in protection of the police at that point. What is wrong? Something doesn't look right. Is the nose too long? I think it is. I think I made the... That's better. I think it's interesting. One thing, doing these comics like this is, if there's any skill you're lacking, you just kind of have to fake it until you make it, and you just still do it. Was it like a proper club? Hello? There we go. That's crazy. We had one situation with a teacher that was bullshit. And the only reason we know it's bullshit is because after the fact, years later, the girl who made accusations said she was just struggling in his class and thought it would be a good way to get out of the situation So she fabricated something. Mind you, there were some things. There's no territory rocker patches. That's fair. My dad was in a club, not a 1% club, mind you. He was in a standard riding club. Still vets, because he was Vietnam vet. I started riding when I was 16, because that's what the requirement was in my state. I mean, I started riding legally on the road at that age. Uh-oh. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I want either. Wait, why are these not all... Things aren't right. Hold on, guys. It's not world-ending stuff, but like, I normally have my computer or my screen set up a certain way, and things are not showing up the right way. And it's messing with me. Perfect. Okay. Fixed it. Sorry. Patch support on all the officers. Wanted me to go full pack patch. I couldn't move. That's fair. Perfectly reasonable. I wish I could remember what my dad's was called. I have the patch somewhere because I have his vest from whenever he passed. It was given to me since I was the only one who rode in my family besides him. Okay, and then she has this. I also remember at one point he went on when Missouri. That's cute. What type of dog is your Maverick? Well, my first motorcycle I had since 2006, 2005. I don't have that motorcycle anymore, but my first one I had since 2005. Listen, that doesn't make me feel old. That makes me feel like you're young. That's a very different thing. Now, if you told me you were watching and you were born in the 2020s, I would be like, okay, you shouldn't be here, but that does start to make me feel old. But no. Because I'm only 36 for another month. I'll be 37 next month. 37? That's how the math works, yeah. Makes you feel old, but you're younger than me. Why would that make you feel old? Just because he's a baby makes you feel old? That doesn't make any sense. Damn it. It's funny, I thought you were slightly younger than me. Not slightly older than... You're barely any older than me. You are barely any older than me. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, my mom was born in 54. My dad was born in 53. Nope, that was the wrong layer. That's supposed to be on the sketch layer. It's like anytime Reptimus tries to tell me he's old, I'm like, you're not old. You're not young. There's a difference there. I'm not saying you're young. You're not old yet. Yeah, plenty of time until you're old. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Yeah, my mom was born, like I said, 54, 53. I was born in 89. My youngest sister was born in 76. think that's right. 76 sounds right. It may have been 75. My oldest sister was born in 73. So my sisters are older than your parents, Coast. I bet you let's see, you were born in 2010. So, no, all my nephews and nieces are slightly older than you. Yeah. My youngest nephew was born in 2000. Hold on, how old are they? 2007? So a little bit younger than you, or older than you. Yeah, you the baby. That's okay. I always make fun of whenever he's in here, Rui for being the baby too, because you know, he always talks about stuff like, oh yeah, I grew up on Markiplier, and I'm like, Markiplier is a month younger than, or a month older than me. Like Markiplier, I couldn't grow up with Markiplier because Markiplier and I are the same age. He's the oldest in the entire group. Fair enough. Newgrounds and mini clip. Yep. E-bomb or yeah, E-bomb's world. Thinking of old clips, man. Yep. Forgot Napster, you know, the quote-unquote original, the most mainstream one. Not that anyone actually used Napster, everyone used LimeWire and Kazaa. Our girl Kat, I met her on Yahoo Messenger roleplay rooms back in the day. I'm not even upset at him. It always makes me laugh because I'm literally the same age as Markiplier, you know. So I couldn't. I think it's adorable. Man, I remember when YouTube became a thing. Hey, I have no qualms with it. I think it's adorable. I think it's nice. I think it's good to know people have a basis of, you know, who they like. I think that's a good thing. And maybe one day I'll have the same sort of following, so to speak. Maybe not. I don't know if I want it. I want my work to have that following. I don't want to have that following, if that makes sense. I would like to keep my streams personally this size. I would like to get people following my work, though, eventually to be a big following. Which Smash or Pass video? Markiplier's Pokemon Smash or Pass? I vaguely recall that. That's the one you're talking about. If he had another one, I don't know it. Markiplier, I remember when Markiplier got his start, okay? Because when he got his start, like early on, he ended up on... That's funny. He one of his early things, he was on the game station, which was like Jesse Cox, Krindor, the Warp Zone, Total Biscuit, Dodger, Husky, etc. Day 9, and Markiplier was on that, and he was in some of the talk shows, like the podcast interview thing they started doing back when podcasts were still new. And that's where I first was introduced to Markiplier, and at first I hated him because he did really bad content, in my opinion. I don't like people overacting scares to video games. And then years later, I saw something from him, and since then I've followed him. So, like, he earned me years later when he wasn't doing the fake jump scare stuff. The Pokemon one, yeah. No hate to the guy, he just wasn't my content, you know. And then he is. Now he is. And his more recent stuff, where he kind of breaks down quote-unquote scary games, a lot better, in my opinion. Yeah, he seems like a really good guy. What's up, Corgi? How are you feeling, buddy? I didn't say anything yesterday, but I was in your chat. And, or maybe I did. I said like one singular thing and then kind of disappeared. But tonight I get to celebrate, I think it was a 90 stream streak for your stream, Corgi. I've been watching too much of you at this point. Quote unquote, too much of you. Yeah, I wasn't there for very long, so if you didn't notice it, I'm not remotely upset, because I ended up after stream playing a bunch of Night Rain with Nyx, and then did stuff in Bytes chat, and played a lot of Gundam, trying to get... Yeah, it was. Yeah. Wait, what am I doing? This is all outlined, right? Yeah. Been missing Corgi streams, you know. Corgi streams for like 7 hours, so, you know, that's an exaggeration sometimes. Sometimes he does really stream for 7 hours. Because he'll get so involved in what he's doing that he loses track of time, and I respect it, because I've done the same. Plenty of times. Yeah, he starts at midnight my time. But, you know, I mean, read my username. That's when I'm awake. That name's not just a moniker. Yeah, yeah. I liked, oh, I can't think of the person. The person who rated in and was talking about the stuff they were doing for school. Like, they were showing off what they were writing. Though they don't like the writing part, it was still, I like the stuff they were posting. I hope they show up and give us more examples, because that was some good stuff. What's up, Sammy? Yeah, his writing was pretty good. I didn't actually catch that part, but their writing was pretty good. How you doing, Sammy? I forgot to do it. That's okay. Kind of just want to use font, so let's This looks so cool, thank you. For sure, no worries, Toast. That was an interesting the second one, really. I really want to know, without even an insult, I want to know what language that person spoke natively, because it clearly wasn't English and it was all translated. And it made for some very interesting stuff there. No, that wasn't yesterday. Yesterday was I'm thinking wrong. Yesterday was Seraphim playing, or Seraphim? Is that the no Al whatever. He was doing the roguelike mode. That was yesterday. And he was singing. I remember. The day before was Bad Bites. My days are getting all mixed up. Sammy popped in partway through after her karaoke. So I don't know if you saw her there, but she popped in to stream. You have a little bit of an excuse since you've been sick. Missed out on some good singing if you didn't check out Sammy's stream. She was doing karaoke last night. A lot of bangers. Multiple 3 days grace. Some bowling for soup, I believe, at one point. It was a good time. Good times are had by all. He can't help it. He's a poor baby who's got the Crohn's, and we got to treat him like baby and protect him at all costs. Maybe don't literally treat him like a baby, but protect him like baby. I eventually need to learn to sing, which is always kind of a weird thing to say, but people who sing know what I mean. I play all these instruments. I do not have the same ability to control my voice as I do the ability to control an instrument. I need to learn how to sing. He is baby. He's not a literal baby, but yeah, he is baby. He's sickle baby. He has... Man, that sounds really condescending. I don't care. Yeah. His ability to absorb his needed stuff directly from food is compromised. Rough. I mean, and I say this with a grain of salt, but it felt like it had to eventually happen again anyways, right? Like, you've been having so many good days for so long that it kind of has to creep up, quote unquote. I don't like wording it that way, but so it could have been much worse whenever it struck. So at least you're managing it better than it could have been. Yeah, it's the time of the year. Yeah. Yeah, I think you've said that a couple times. Yes, agreed. I was going to fill in the little white line around it, but I kind of like it. I definitely want to fill it in on the top. It would just be right around her. If I do leave it. Oh, Sammy, if you're still here, I think the answer to your request is yes. I should be available. I might show up a couple minutes late, maybe, but I should be available. If you guys are still doing that stuff tomorrow. I think it's interesting stopping to do this comic since it's so different than what I've been doing recently with all the pixel art. It's such a refreshing thing to go back to, I don't know, my art style, quote unquote. I don't know if that's the right way to word it, but step away from the pixel art, which I'm having so much fun doing, but going back to just, you know, a little bit more traditional style. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Toast. I mean, obviously I don't directly suffer it, but, you know, again, I have 3 older sisters. I have, 2 nieces and 1 assigned female at birth nibbling that have had to deal with that stuff. So, I cannot directly relate, but I can definitely understand and sympathize. Gallstones. It's funny because someone mentioned that I think Toast said earlier that it's surprising how many people draw comics, and I said, well, you can blame Corgi for this. Blame in quotes. This is something he and I had been talking about for a while, and then I finally just sat down and started doing it. Her eyes. Oh no. I mean, that's fair, but oh no. Two. Okay. I hate this. Why is it being a pain in my ass? I'm not zooming. It's like my mouse works on all things besides randomly my up or down scroll. It's not the same. It decides to do something differently each day recently. Oop. Time to recalibrate phone. Oh. At least that doesn't take but a moment. I remember back on like early touch screens when they weren't really touch screens, they were pressure screens that we were calling touch screens. Having to calibrate those like once a week. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to do this the right way, but I got to find a reference. Bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum 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 ba da bum bum ba da bum. That's too dark. Let's start with a gray. That is not as wide as I had hoped. What if I do this? Nope, it's still... No, that's too tight of a thing. What does this look like? I said I'm not going to cheat, and then I'm immediately cheating anyways. Sorry, got a phone call if it was addressed. Oh no, you're good. You're good. What does this look like? Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. I don't think this is it either. But I can make that work. There we go. That gives me a quick, simple door texture. It does, but because I want to be able to do some of these in color, and I like my sketching to be in color, I'm not using it. But yes, it does have monochrome mode. Okay. No, wait. fix that in a moment. There we go. And I see something I haven't done at all here. Dark again. Let's get in here. Nope. There we go. I'll take this. That's fine. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. I'm running the Jeep through the car wash now. Hell yeah. Make sure you show pictures. From your perspective, I'm not... To be clear, I'm not trying... I mean, not that I care, but... I'm not trying to get you to, do the other. You can. I'm not going to be upset if you do, but... I'm just going to do the one. Oh, looks good. Alright, what's next? What next up is... Oh, waking up. Right, okay. Pencil. Okay, now I need to establish what a head looks like. I know that sounds weird, but in my mind, I need to establish what that looks like. Sitting up in bed. Alright, that gives me what I'm looking for. So let's center this a little bit more. We're gonna do a little bit of this real quick. Bam. And then, yeah, so this is going to be like the blanket here. This actually looks pretty good as far as where it's at. We just need to have this spilling over. Spill over. Okay. Alright, now we can go from here. Bam. Okay. And then we want to get the corgi head. Don't like it. Let's start doing the thing with the face first. Now, most of that's going to get covered up, so I don't know why I'm putting all that effort into it, but... But, kind of like how you do it all the time, I definitely need it in reference, because parts of it are going to stick through. And I definitely know it's mood for you. You take it a step further. You draw the entirety of everything. Which, of course, helps for your realism as far as shapes and everything. So, I definitely don't question you doing it. Okay, so that'll work out there. That's the right shape. Okay. I'm not going to bother drawing the eyes because they are also going to be thrown away. Yeah. I understand. Like I said, I'm never going to question it. It works out for you very well. That was weird. I was scrolling down and it was zooming in like I was scrolling up. Okay. Back of the hand, thumbs at the bottom. Now I get really quiet as I do all this little fine erasing. There we go. There we go. Back to the pencil, go back to erasing, clean this up. Go. Almost. There we go. Down and out. There we go. Corgi, I found a website that I want to play around with other artists on that is a shared, kind of like a Google Doc where you can edit at the same time, but it's a canvas, a digital canvas. And you each have your own layers, so you can work on your own layers. You don't share a layer. Yeah. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll pull it up on screen. And I think it would be something to just mess around with one of these weeks with like yourself or Noon or anything like that. Wait, I don't want to do that. I want to do refresh. Discord. Yeah, give me a second and I'll show you. You do have to sign in, create an account for it to do it, but you know, it's as far as I can tell, it's fair. It's free. $19.89. What should I do for my birthday this year, guys? UI on. Oh wow, it lets you even like break it down more than I realized. What do I have in Spiroi? Which one is this in Spiroi? H1060. I guess I could show you what I'm doing here. I'm setting it up right here. It's none of those. HP 1060. Is that right? 1060p. Save. Hobbyist. Save. Skip for now. And so then you have this link. And so there's this thing here, and then if I go to my boards, and I can create a new board at whatever size I want, digital, recent, you know, any of these, film and animation, so if you want to do animations together. And then it pops up like this, and I can invite other people. Eat your favorite food. Did I say something wrong? It's a good time for me since I'm between chapters. Did I say eat your favorite food? What? I don't know what I said that about. Eat your favorite food. What did I say that sounds like that? Oh, what I should do for my birthday. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna ask my wife to make one of my favorite meals. I meant what should I do for my stream on that day, because I'm definitely still gonna stream, because I like streaming on my birthday, and I'll probably do another long one like I did last year. I really enjoy doing that. But I was thinking about doing this as one of the things. And so, like, here... Hold on. I should be able to share. Yep. So, like, if you do this, if I send this, now you can join this with me. You don't have to join it, but I'm just saying, like, I can do that. I can send that out, and then multiple people can work on the same board together. July 19th. And it does, so this does work with the pressure on my pen. Yeah, no, I'm not saying... I wasn't saying you should join. I was showing you how this works, though. It's like, I can do this, I can send this, and then everyone who's in here has the ability to draw that I invite on the same canvas. And you have the different tools. I haven't messed with it much yet. But there's, like, select tools. You can make stuff in 3D. There's a whole bunch of options. How do I find the pin? Why am I... Oh, because it... Why is it... There we go. So yeah, if this is something I'm thinking about doing on my one of the things I'm planning on doing for my birthday stream is just letting any, like, in that link, if anyone is at their computer and wants to test it and sign up for this, and jump in and just like play with it some so we can see if it works correctly. What day of the week is my birthday? Let me find out, because I don't remember. It is... Oop. Sunday. It's a Sunday. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. If I hit F, does it give me fill? No, it doesn't. G is the fill. That's interesting. Okay. Oh. Oh, I see. Oh, look. A couple anonymous people have shown up. Yeah, let's see what happens if you... Feel free to fill in, whoever jumped in. What's up? Gato, I didn't even see Gato say anything. Did I miss it? There. Oh, gotcha. Fair enough. I like how since I've been doing this kind of formless, it's hard to know which way is forward and which way is back. Oh, there we go. Layer number 2 has someone on it now. Eager AI Kiss. There's Sammy. Yeah, feel free. Draw on it, Sammy. Let's see how well it works. I like how I can see your things scrolling around. And you have your own layer, so you don't have to worry about, like, screwing up what I do. You can just draw on top of it. Would this interest people if I were to do this? So for my birthday in July. Yeah, no, you've got your own layer. You can give permission to the other person. You're on your tablet, okay. You can give permission to other people to use your layer, but I do like that the pressure sensitivity is very solid there. So yeah, and so clearly, at least with 2 people, it works out just fine, which is, thing. So yeah, yeah, if this interests people, I would like to consider this as one of the activities I do for my birthday stream. Kind of save it for that. This is kind of a test run for it, but save like the important bit of it until then. Oh. I kind of like just leaving that white. Maybe I'll do on this side in white as well. It's really cool. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Yeah. I saw Shura doing it with Hit My Mark, and thought it would be kind of a cool thing to do, so I saved the link, and I hadn't done it yet. I hadn't messed with it yet, but... Oh, and for people who are wanting Wifey to get on stream, she says once we figure out a good time for everyone to watch, she's down. Now we have to get stuff set up to do it, but she would be happy to do so. So if you guys have a preference on what day of the week and time would work, and that we can try to work our... Obviously, her schedule is going to come first on it, but if you guys have a, like, hey, we would like to see it later in the day, or like on the weekend, not in the middle of the week, or if you'd prefer it in the middle of the week and not on the weekend, you know, let us know. Because her schedule, she's off most weekends, but she's not off every weekend. So that is, she did say she does have some interest in it. So yeah, this is something we'll do then, for sure. So I might post something on the Discord soon with like a poll of when, have like first poll of what day would people like to see, with caveats. Like I'll put information about it, and then like what week and whatnot, or hours. See, someone else also mentioned Mondays, but then we have Mecha Mondays going on, which I'm okay with not doing Mecha Mondays, but then I don't want to pull people away from Mecha Mondays. And so that's the one thing I'm concerned about doing Mondays. I like how this started off as like a corgi picture, but now it kind of looks like Eevee just because of how some of the shapes have turned out. I'm not saying no to doing Mondays, by the way. I'm also a little worried about doing Mondays because I don't want to screw up Mecha Mondays for people. Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'm about to get back to my other stuff here shortly anyways. I'm mostly just showing off the things that we're working with here. Do. You can definitely tell I'm used to doing this with Yep, Jill. The other nice thing about this, so I'm doing all this, but I can also this button. So I can add a layer above hers, or move it below everything. Just like you would with like Oh, this whole layer is white. Welcome back from Ad Jail. So yeah, another neat thing with this is you do have like these layers, right? Like you do with any art program. You can't see them, I just realized. Let me hide myself. Give me 1 second to get down here. So down here in the corner, we have these layer options, right? So like right now, Sammy has the top layer. And I have this layer, and it says on the bottom right who owns it. So I can't draw over on Sammy's layer. Well, I might be able to because I'm the admin. I don't know. No, yeah, I'm not the owner of this layer, so I cannot do it. Now I can own this layer and I can work on it, but I can, just like any of the art programs. Oops, I can create a new layer. So you can move around your layers and still work together like you would, and I can draw over top of hers, I can put it below hers and draw underneath hers while hers still on top. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Pretty neat little thing. So yeah, that's something I plan on using at some point. Again, like I said, probably for... Okay. Might have missed my answer earlier. Let's see. Maybe. Sorry, I didn't see that. Depends on what later means, but probably. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and close this board. Like later tonight. Yeah, maybe, probably. You know I'm going to be playing it at some point today anyways. I got to get my dailies done, so... I'll definitely be on it at some point. Yeah, I save my dailies for after stream since, you know, it resets at 2 in the afternoon our time, I think, or 3 in the afternoon, one or the other. And so I'm always like waking up and doing stuff right after that, so I don't get a chance to do it until after stream unless I'm streaming it. Actually, let's go into the color and start doing some of this stuff. We want this gray, because this gray is his gray. I looked it up. It resets either 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I can't remember because I can't remember which time zone I looked at it, but it's 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And so it's like I wake up and have to do stuff, and so by the time I can actually get around to it, it's, you know, after stream. Right, so his stuff comes up a little higher on the underside here. Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. Do do do. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a wizard war.
I cast wrong layer.
You scared me for a second, Phil. My eyes immediately shot over to see if I had actually cast the wrong. Drew on the wrong layer. Wrong layer, of course, is the curse of all artists. The spell makes you do things for way too long on the wrong spell wrong layer without realizing it. And to counter it, I don't have a good counter spell. I think I'm just cursed to live with it. You missed out on me playing with a website that I'm going to use for my birthday as well, but where multiple people can draw on the same piece of art, and you get layers and tools, and it uses the pressure pin if you have a pressure pin. So yeah, look forward to that for this year. That's something I plan on doing. I'm laughing at something from someone else's stream. Sorry, guys. And it was actually an inside thought because of what was said on someone else's stream. So it wasn't even like laughing at specifically what they said, more about what it made me think of.
That's high quality H2O.
Cheers. So yeah, Phil, I plan on doing, I don't know about another 24-hour for sure, but definitely another long stream for my birthday this year. And apparently it's on a Sunday. And so one of the things I plan to do is the multiple people can draw on one sheet of paper thing. So if you're interested in joining in on that, you know, show up on my birthday and hang out, and we'll do some art. We'll do some absolute goof-ass art, I'm sure. Sammy helped me test it. It worked out perfectly. Again, thank you, Sammy, for helping me test that. If you're still around, I know you had a phone call, so you may not even be available to hear that. But if you can, thank you again. Goop ass art and holy lettuce. That's the Lord's Day. And I'm not going to agree or disagree. I'm just going to ask you, and you're allowed to draw art on the Lord's Day. So, like, even if that was a serious statement, it wouldn't matter. Oh, wild kakuna. No, I know. Like I said, I know you're not being serious, even if you were being serious, so what? I was really hoping there was going to be someone who took it serious in the chat and then tried to correct me about it. "50 consecutive streams. Thank you, my dear wifey." Hold on. So I want this side to be... There we go. Having you forgot to ask a certain person. Gotcha. The myth of consent. I've seen like 3 myth of consent memes this week, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm seeing all these, and now I'm getting in my own chat. Maybe sleeps is a sign. What? But what sort of sign? You're a divination expert, right? I need you to divine what it means. Sloths have the ability to see into the future with their psychic powers. Little known fact for those people who don't know about sloths, they are psychic and have the ability to see into the future. Don't fact check me on that. Or do. You'll have to rely on the internet, controlled by sloths famously. You just read the word divination. We're getting at that. I saw something today, not to do with that, to do with the freaky word thing. I saw something today referencing defenestration. And I was just like, God damn it, why is it that the word defenestrate shows up so much, like, in my life? Obviously, I'm not throwing people out of windows, but, like, I have used that phrase a lot as a DM, and then it just randomly will pop up at nowhere, and maybe I need to start throwing people out of windows, is what I'm starting to think. Maybe I ought to start defenestrating, maybe. No! Curse you, Phil! You were successful in casting wrong lair on me! Just to see what it's all about. I have witnessed someone get defenestrated once. exactly once. And the best part about the situation is he told the guy he was going to do it. He's like, I'm going to throw you out the window. And the person's like, no. And then he threw him out the window. So that was a interesting day. And we were on the second floor. The guy survived being thrown out the window because there was like a whole bunch of stuff going on below. But yeah, I have seen someone get defenestrated before. Because defenestration does not have to be to death. It's just being, you know, thrown out a window. Oh, there are windows behind him. Oh no! All of that work, and now I have to fucking finish the window. God damn it. I don't think it does. I think you have to be thrown from a window for it to count as defenestration. I really don't think it counts if you just jump out of a window. That's good. That's always good. Look. I'm up. Ads are about to start again. Oh my gosh. Okay. 30 or 90-second ad. Oh no.
Senator, we run ads.
Senator, we run ads. We're already running ads. I can't run ads on top of ads, Phil. What are we doing here, man? Exception. Adception. Do. It's funny because I put that at such a high point. You're the only one who ever uses it, and I swear half the time I have to refund you because you always decide to do it at times like this, knowing full well I can't give it to you. I swear you do it on purpose just to see if I'm paying attention. I totally would, too, if it would let me run more right afterward. I absolutely would fulfill that. Oh no. At some point, I deleted something I wanted. Okay, I think that'll give me what I need. An ad read? Oh, okay. You know, I'd be willing to do that if I could find a good ad read. I would definitely be willing to do that. But I would have to find some good ones to use before I did. Oh my gosh, I see what happened. Okay, we just start over here. I was also on the wrong layer anyways, because Bill has successfully double struck me with the ad layers, or the wrong layer. When did it break? From the get-go. From the rip. Awesome. Okay, well, I guess we can do this. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah. This. Yeah. No, so that's where it breaks. Okay. Man, I haven't thought of Jeff Foxworthy in a long time. What the hell happened with that? What? Okay. That's what I want. And then on a lighter color, we go over it a second time. And you have layers of grass now. Sticking up. I definitely was supposed to do something first there. I was supposed to do the solid-ish dark color back there. Oh. Oh, right. That's not actually white. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm making everything so much harder for myself every step of the way by simply not painting stuff white. It's okay. Nope.
That's
Okay.
high quality H2O.
me a second. Cheers. My dad used to be a huge Jeff Foxworthy fan, to the point where he had like the yearly redneck calendar. We had like all the cassettes of Jeff Foxworthy's routines. Blue Collar came out, and my dad went to see them live. And he found out while he was there that he had met Larry the Cable Guy years and years before he was Larry the Cable Guy, whenever he was performing under whatever his actual name was. So that was something I got to hear about, which kind of neat. No, I wasn't interested. Like, I don't have any distaste for it. It just, my stand-up comedy was a little bit, I don't want to say higher brow. Because, I mean, it's Eddie Izzard, let's be real. Like, people like Eddie Izzard. Eddie Izzard is not highbrow. Per se. But it's a different target. It's a different thought process behind the comedy. But he and my mom went, and they had like a whole night of it. So that was fun for them, and I'm really glad they got to do it. All right, let's try this again now. Black. Okay, cool. Okay, and then the lighter color. And then white. And then I want to be especially lazy. And there we go. Bum 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 bum. All right, let's see. I don't want to start in on the next panel. I've done 2 panels today. I think that's good for panels. Let's find something else we can do. I know, let's find something like this to do. I'm gonna find one to do. I'm not gonna tell you what I'm doing until after I find one to do. But then we're gonna do something. Bum 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 bum. not what I'm looking for. Let me find one. Let me find it. Hold on. Are you telling me I need to open up animes? Because I will. Give me a second before you redeem it. Okay, now you can redeem it if you want. No pressure to do so, but if you were wanting to, I had to get the program. There we go. VTube now! Make sure this is all set up. Get my calibration done. Boop. Calibrate. Okay. Do. And then. It's me! It's me! I am not a vampire. With my hair that keeps getting in my face. Is this what I'm looking for? Hold on, I may have found what I'm looking for. Oh yeah. I may have to look up a couple of these to see who they are by the top of my head. The hair bones are all over the place. They kind of are. Why did it change? Which background I was on? No, god damn it, I'm not trying to hit that. Yes, a new tier list. Yeah, I made this, by the way, Duo. This is my creation. I don't use it very much because it is kind of intensive to use it and stream at the same time. Oh, I know what happened. And I know how to fix it. Filters. Boop. There you go. Now it shouldn't randomly disappear. Final Fantasy tier list. Oh, that's the wrong button. You still want one? I can show you a program that'll make it easy to make one on your own. Hello? What the fuck is going on? Why is this? I'm hitting buttons and the bad things. Yeah. I don't use it very often, but yeah, I have it. And all the... Oh, let me make sure it's on the right screen. But it actually reacts to the lights on the screen as long as I have it set on the correct screen. Which screen are you on? Never mind. I'm not doing it. Okay. Whatever. It's being a little finicky. But yeah, the rigging on this is super basic, but yeah, I can show you some programs that allow you to make this for really, like, not necessarily make your own. It would be on a template, but you know, it's a starting point. But yeah, so that's something I can show you at some point, Duo. I'm, you know, depending on what you want to do. But it is, again, you need a camera. If you do one like what Sammy or Udon have, you're going to need something more than just a webcam, probably. I assume Sammy uses an iPhone as well. I know Udon does. I was gonna say Final Fantasy 1. Are these technically the Final Fantasy 1? Because they don't really... That's where you started, yeah. I use it as just a regular webcam because I made this so that way I knew how to make one, so that way I could help my friend make one, because I knew I wasn't going to use it. But I wanted to learn how to physically go through the process of making one. So where is this starting? Character-wise here. Maybe I want to do a different tier list. Let's do a different tier list. I've changed my mind. I just realized I don't want to go through all of the Final Fantasy characters. Put a webcam on your laptop right now. That's fair. Yeah, it's, I mean, honestly, it's without even a doubt, the iPhone ones are just better, without a question. You know what? We've been doing a lot of Gundam. Let's see what we have as options for Gundam. Favorite Gundams. Mobile Suit Gundam Grunt. Let's see how complete this list is. I may do this one. That's a very not complete list. I did say work in progress, so that makes sense. I could do... Oh yeah, let's see. Let's see that one. That would be good. Jobs and classes. Yeah. We'll do that one. That one would be a lot quicker. I will eventually do the character one on a dedicated tier list stream. Well, this is just Final Fantasy 14. We'll do Final Fantasy 14. That's okay. Well, let's see. Let's see what else there was. Tactics jobs. Let's do Final Fantasy Tactics jobs. There we go. We'll do this. Okay. Oh no, it doesn't have the names. I don't remember what all the names are off the top of my head. No, I'm going to do Final Fantasy 14. I have committed to it. We're doing Final Fantasy 14. Does this have the 2 I haven't played in it? It does. So I'm going to have to make a tier on here that hasn't played, because they've added 2 classes since I stopped playing. So, add row below. I'm going to literally call it new. So the 2 I haven't played, Pictomancer and Viper. We're just putting those there. I haven't played those. You don't speak fruit, you speak... Yeah, okay. you can also use your cell phone, I mean your Android phone. It's not as good at picking up facial expressions as the iPhone is. I guess I also don't need. Let me get off this. We don't need my hand cam here, and we can move the VTuber down. There we go. That's better. Okay. I guess we can start with the crafting classes because they're important. Crafting and gathering. Okay. That's interesting that they have them set up like that. Alright, so, in my experiences, all of the crafting classes are so fun to play, and all of the gathering classes are actually really fun to play. Like, surprisingly so, how well they made those interactives interesting, right? So the gathering classes, we'll start there. We have the miner. You want to move? Alchemist. We have the botanist. And we have fishing. Okay. So I'm going to rate these ones on their gameplay specifically. And so, fishing, I'm going to do this one first, because fishing is the only absolute S in gathering. The others are good, mind you. But fishing not only has interesting gameplay, it has interesting storylines to it, and added gameplay options. There are many adventures you can go on for fishing where you get with other people and you get on a cruise ship, and the cruise ship has like different places it can go into based on location, or based on the weather and stuff, have different things you can catch. You need to bring different bait based on where the ship goes and what the weather is in those locations. It's really, really in-depth, and it's as in-depth as the combat in the game. S. Absolute S. I don't even do fishing that much, but it's an S. Mining and botany don't feel different on a mechanical level. That's not a bad thing per se. You have the ability to sneak around instead of fighting. And then they have like their own types of mini games based on what you're gathering, and it's like a combat with a single enemy where you're trying to optimize. Instead of deal damage, you're trying to optimize for the best quality, but it uses the same sort of mechanics as the combat. And I would say both botany and mining are B tier. They are super fun. But they're not things that I would go out of the way to tell other people to try. But if someone asked me if they should use it, I would say yes, go play it. Go do that part. Then we have armorsmith, blacksmith, carpenter, cooking, leatherworking. What did they call? I'm trying to think if it's just tailor. Jeweler and alchemist. Mechanically, these are the gameplay loop of all of these are unfortunately literally identical. That's not to say that they're bad. It's that there's not a difference in how they play. So once you've played one, you've played them all, and they all have purposes. So I'm going to throw all of these, say mechanically, these are all, again, B. They're ones that, if you were to ask me if you should play them, I would say yes. I'm not going to tell you should go out of your way to play them. However, I am going to put cooking a step above because I like the storyline that goes with the quest for it. So we're going to put cooking up here on A, and we're going to put the rest of these in B. They do have some interesting quest lines, though, that go through. Like, for the tailor, you're at certain points, you're making clothes. For a fashion expert, for a news he writes for a magazine or whatever. Leather worker, you're making armor for the entirety of Gridania, which is the forest nation of the elves and the cat people. For the blacksmith and the smithing, which is a weaponsmith, armorsmith and weaponsmith, which are in the same guild because they're both metal workers. You're constantly churning out stuff for gladiators and champions. Really neat. The carpenters they work for Gridania directly as well, making bows and spears. The jeweler has the interesting fact that all the magic gear is made for them. So magic books are made for them. So some of your quests are doing that. Some of them are making pretty jewelry. Actually, jeweler, I think, with some of the stuff they do, I would put there as well. Let's do healers next. Oh no, that's not right. Let's not do healers next. Let's do classes before we do jobs, which is a weird thing to say if you haven't played and don't understand, but that's rogue, that's lancer, pugilist, Thaumaturge. Am I missing? Definitely missing. Oh, Conjurer and Marauder. I think that's all of them. Okay. Ad break is starting soon. We'll start in with stuff, and there it is. We'll wait. Angry face. Part of me wants to start using my VTuber more, but if I do, I would want to go in and up its triangle count and stuff like that, which would mean re-rigging it from scratch, essentially, because it's hard to just add triangles while you're doing that. But maybe in the future I will start using this. Like I said, I would definitely have to go in and add triangles, so that way I had more control over the facial expressions and whatnot. Alright, back to what we were saying. Alright. So we're going to start with the only healer in the classes. So technically, Final Fantasy XIV started off with a combination of classes and jobs. And now, they've kind of done away with classes besides at the intro of the game. So, if you haven't played it, you start off with the classes whenever you create your character. You have the one healer option from the rip is the Conjurer, which is just a baby white mage. I say that, but they actually have a separate storyline, and you actually get some storyline after you've already become a white mage. You can come back and do Conjurer stuff. So it's not just white mage baby. But it's a Conjurer. They are druids and clerics all wrapped into one lore-wise. They commune with the spirits of nature. and they heal by restoring the natural flow of energy. They're kind of, in my opinion, the most important starting class, because the other classes kind of need them to do their thing, right? Like you can't run a dungeon without a healer. Their storyline is kind of cool though. You help a little girl who is a conjurer who she is like essentially the equivalent of like a dark druid or whatever. Instead of restoring balance to heal, she is just stealing the powers of nature to heal. And you have to help her realize that there are better ways to do it. And in some of the DLCs, she comes back later. In the second or first DLC, she comes back later, and you have to help her again. And it's a really good little. I think it's a really good storyline, and the kit class itself, of course, healer. I'm biased. I prefer healers, but really good. Next, I'm going to do the tanks, which are Gladiator and Marauder, which eventually become Paladin and Warrior. Originally, you had to have levels in both to do either of them. They've changed up how that works, so now you just level it up. If you are someone who in anime likes the tournament arc and you want to play Final Fantasy XIV, play Gladiator. There is a literal tournament arc. There's another one for Blue Mage, but more importantly, on this one, you get a full-on tournament arc that you get to go through, and it's actually pretty well written, and there's steps to it, and I think Gladiator, it's a really good storyline, and it's pretty fun. I'm gonna put it as an A. Marauder is the axe-wielding berserker type character. They are weaker than gladiators. That being said, warriors are stronger than paladins. Or at least they were last time I played. This is outdated information. They may have been updated since then. But you are learning to hunt pirates is the storyline. You are a police officer, so to speak. You're not literally, you're working with the local patrols and guards of Limsa Lamensa, which is the pirate town, and there's legal privateers and then there's illegal pirates, and you're kind of going after them. I'm not a big fan of the storyline of it. I like the class, how it plays. I think it's one, if you ask me if you play, yes, I would say you should play. If you ask if I'm telling you a class to play, it's not going to be me telling you to do that. Alright, and then for the other classes, let me move that out of the way as well. We have Arcanist, Archer, Rogue, Lancer, Pugilist, and Thaumaturge. Am I missing one? No, I think that's all of them. Okay. Arcanist has the darkest storyline of any class in the fucking game. Also, it's my favorite class in the game. In fact, it is my literal... It and its derivations. It's the only class that goes into 2 jobs. Is my favorite. Storyline has some really dark moments in it. Really fun. But it's the summoner class. You get to conjure a little carbuncle. I liked it back when you got to control the carbuncle instead of just using it for your attacks. They kind of dumbed it down to be easier. It used to have a really high skill ceiling and a pretty high skill floor, unfortunately, which is why they got rid of it and made it more leveled out. But your only summon is carbuncle, which is adorable. You get a cute little green, red, or yellow carbuncle, which is like a rabbit cat glowing creature, and each one does slightly different things. Well, it did. I don't know if they still do, actually. The green was the DPS for like debuffing type of DPS, so you like weaken your opponents. The red was pure DPS, and the yellow/gold played as kind of a tank summon. I don't know if that's still the case, because again, they've kind of done away with the way the summon works, so I don't know for sure anymore. I haven't done that since the game originally came out, or well, I guess I did it in Realm Reborn, but I haven't played I haven't played Arcanist since Realm Reborn, so since before Heaven's Ward even. Heaven's Ward? Yeah, that's the second one. Or first DLC. So, but yeah, I loved it. Story is great. The characters are amazing, very well written. The gameplay is fun. You're adding damage over time effects, dotting your opponent, you're debuffing them, you're damaging them, you're controlling a summon. You have versatility. You even get a heal spell because one of the jobs that comes from this class is Scholar. So I really like Arcanist. All right, Archer. I'm gonna be honest. I love Bard. I think the Archer storyline kind of crap, and the gameplay worse than it used to be. It used to be a lot cooler actually, because it used to have other abilities that have been taken away. It used to have a lot of like zone of denial type moves, but they kind of got rid of those. And so now Archer is just Archer. You don't get to throw fire bombs. You don't get to set up like cordons and stuff. Instead, you coat poison on your bow, you shoot really hard, and that's it. Archer's gameplay is kind of crap. Its storyline, less cool archery. Yeah, I know. It used to be really cool. The storyline is not bad. You are helping someone who is like, so they're all the people in the guild are hunters essentially, and one of them is not from there, and she's trying to prove herself. And you kind of help her realize that she doesn't have to be an outsider, while also showing the ace that he's not all that. So the storyline's good. I'd still put it in C, maybe D. C because I think Bard is really good, and it becomes Bard. If Bard wasn't such a redeeming thing, it would be a D. The one I'm about to do, this one, this is Rogue. Rogue has one of the funniest storylines, while also being semi-serious. It feels like an anime in a way. So you can't start as Rogue. You actually have to pick up this class. This is the only class that you can't start as that is a class. No, the more triangular one. This is the summoner symbol, which we'll get there. There is a summoner, yes. We'll get there. Well, when we get to the jobs, we'll get there. So, Rogue, you have to find where they are, and they live next to the fishing guild, and then you rob some people. You're privateers. You are legal privateers. You are not doing it illegally. You're a good thieves guild, essentially. So you're stealing from ne'er-do-well pirates. It is in Limsa, the pirate city, and everything. And you get a really plucky and energetic and unique characters in the guild that you work with. One of them ties up their guild master all the time for stealing her sandwiches. So like there's some goofiness. It's really good. It's feel good. If you ask me if you should play it, absolutely. Lancer. So there's a meme about Lancers that they are floor tanks. Gameplay wise, Lancers not great. Dragoons, really cool and flashy, also floor tanks. They way their moves work. They get themselves locked in animations. They get easily killed unless you're good at it. You can be really good at it. They're a melee class. which is fine, but they don't have any really special mechanics until they become Dragoons. The story is that another Lancer in the guild is getting kicked out of the guild because he thinks everyone's cowards, and you have to prove to him that you don't have to be reckless with your life, that you're able to actually be a reasonable individual while you're hunting. And no, floor tanks as in they are laying dead on the floor. They're tanking the damage that the floor would do to them. Because they die so easily. So they're laying on the floor dead, tanking the floor itself, drawing aggro from the floor. So yeah, the Dragoon's pretty cool, but Lancer, if you didn't need the Lancer to get to Dragoon, I wouldn't bother with it. The story's boring, cliche, the gameplay is not interesting. I don't know if there's anything that's going to be F. You know what? Because I know it's my bottom rung, we're putting Lancer in F, and that's going to make some people mad, but like, I would tell you the only reason to play Lancer is so you can play Dragoon. That's the only thing I would say about it. So, Pugilist, you get to have like a Dragon Ball learning moment with a sensei that is he's not as good as he once was, and he knows it, but he tries to make everyone believe otherwise. It's a really kind of touching story, and this one actually ends with you like directly learning about monks and everything. They have a pretty interesting gameplay loop, or they did, where you're like building up ki and then releasing the ki, and you even get like a Kamehameha style attack where you jump up and you do an AoE where you blast the ground. No, he's not that type of Master Roshi. Maybe Master Roshi's the wrong direction. And I don't think Master Roshi was actually the right direction to say that anyways. There's a lot of things where they like reference stuff though. But he's like a excuse me. There are though. Okay, no, that's a fair question though, because there are characters that will perv on you if you're playing a female character, because there's some not so savory places in the world of Final Fantasy XIV. But Pugilist, really kind of a cool storyline where you're trying to help your master redeem his face as he keeps failing, and he does show you that he does have these skills. These are real. He's not Don Quixote. He does really have these skills. He's just old and getting, you know, decrepit. I don't know if decrepit's quite right, but I do like it. So I think that one's a good one. And then Thaumaturge, these guys are baby black mages. They're sorcerers in Dungeons and Dragons. They draw aether from themselves instead of the area around them. The magic comes from within them. They're conjuring fire and ice from their very soul to burn and destroy. It is constantly told throughout that the arts are very dangerous, and that you're doing stuff that could kill you, but if you master it, you can become a black mage. It's honestly, it's a really fun gameplay loop where you are building up elemental aether as you're playing, and then you unleash it, and then you switch to the other one and build up that aether. You alter between ice and fire, and each one has different effects. Fire does a lot of damage. Ice will slow down the enemies and restore your own MP. And then you have lightning as a side one that does damage over time and does, you know, big blasts. And yeah, it's kind of a cool, you get to master the elements while putting your life into danger the whole time in the story. Gameplay wise, there's nothing to represent the fact that you're burning your own energy to do it, but in the story it's kind of neat. You also are helping a family. The guild is run by a family of Lalafels, which are halflings, and one of them is a squib. Squib? Is that the right word? He's born without the ability to do all the magic. He's a really good alchemist, though, and all of his brothers tell him all the time. But he gets possessed by a demon, which is a danger that can happen if you empty your body of ether by using it all. And he doesn't have much anyways, because he's not really a great mage. He becomes possessed by a demon, gets warlock powers, and starts killing people because he's being told to do so by the demon. You convince him he doesn't need to do that, and that he should support his family the way he can. It's a good story. Absolutely recommend it if you like casters. It is a little bit more difficult of a class to play at first, but yeah, I think it's a good class. Next, we're gonna do the tanks. I'm moving the healers up here, but we're gonna do the tanks jobs next, because I wanted to do healers into DPS, so that way I can do the split. Also, all those are starting classes besides Rogue, which you can get immediately. You just have to go find it. And they all evolve into these other jobs. Some of these jobs don't have classes attached to them because that was something introduced in the beginning, but they didn't add onto it later. It is a only Realm Reborn and before mechanic. That being said, let's move on. Okay, so healers. My favorite will be the last one we do, but let's go through these. If you like playing green DPS, if you like to shoot your enemy with floating bits from a Gundam and using that damage to heal your allies, you want to play a Sage. Sages use ancient weapons from the before times, whenever ancient technology is more advanced than modern technology, because that's a trope very commonly done in Final Fantasy, and this one keeps in on that. There's a part of the land. I don't want to go into the story too much about where the powers come from, because it is important to the main story. This, in fact, is one of the later additions. I don't think you can get it until you're level 70 even, which is why I'm going to do it first. But Sage, it's definitely not like that. These are, you pick your tank or ally. You have a spell that heals on cast, but what this one does is you shoot your enemies, and when you're shooting your enemies, they heal. They are the, what's it called? There's a cleric or paladin in WoW that does it, where your goal is to keep shooting enemies, and the damage you do heals your allies. That's the main gameplay loop of Sage. So it's healers for DPS players. I think lame. I think it's good enough. If you ask me to play it, yes, go ahead. I don't like it very much, though, personally, because of that. We'll do White Mage next. White Mage is the further exploration of Conjuration. So Conjuration, again, is the druid cleric sort of thing, where they use their powers with nature. A White Mage is a selected individual amongst the conjurers who is so good at interacting with the spirits that it communes directly with them and doesn't just sense it, but in fact is able to directly calm and influence the spirits. They have some interesting mechanics where as they heal, their heals get a little bit stronger until they get they get to blow their load, so to speak, and quickly just burst heal the entire team. They are a active healer. They're not a proactive healer. You're not trying to future-proof things. And they are, as a healer, as far as just healing, the strongest healer. They also have pretty decent damage. They can conjure up like holy magic and stuff. White Mage, really solid. I would put it as an A tier. The storyline's pretty good. You get to interact with the lead of Gridania. She kind of is to blow your load for the gods. Yeah, exactly. Then there's Astrologian. I said I was doing tanks first, and then I did healers. I'm going to do the tanks real quick, and we'll come back to that, because I fucked that up. And I do want to, because I wanted to save Scholar for last. So let's do the tanks real quick. Paladin. S. Paladin is your sword and board healer in tank with self-heal abilities. It has a cover your whole team move. They become invincible for parts of the fight. They are given the very powers of divinity. They literally channel the power of one of the gods at certain points. Like, 3 of their moves are named after the gods that they're channeling the power of. And they're decent damage. They have really good engage, but their survivability is solid. I like it the best. It is not the best tank. It is my favorite tank. They also have the ability to do off healing. You shouldn't be doing that, but it does allow in earlier parts of the game for some interesting team comps. They actually had times where people were running dungeons without a healer, instead playing a bard and a paladin, because they were able to cover the healing and survivability because the damage was so much higher and the healing they needed was very minimal. Yeah, so Paladin, I love. Warrior. I'm putting Warrior up there. It's not my favorite. Warrior is the best tank in the game. Warrior is so good, you can run without a healer and it will survive. They go into a blood rage, and whenever they deal damage, they gain life. And they're really good at it. So yeah. It's so good. It's not fun. The storyline's kind of cool. You get this guy named Hoary Boulder, who's a really great Rogadin, who's like the orc type character. And he's a very angry individual, and he's like, you meet him, he's training out under a waterfall, trying to, control his emotions or whatnot. You're just too angry to die. Some of your mechanics are you throw a chain out, rip people towards you, and then hold them in place as they try it. They can't do anything because you're holding them, or they're anchored to your heavy ass body with a chain. Really good. Not my playstyle. Amazing. Dark Knight. Dark Knight used to be my favorite. They have changed Dark Knight. Kratos ass class, yes. In fact, you use a giant axe. So, Dark Knight used to be my favorite tank. They've changed it too much. I don't like it anymore. It used to be really mechanically interesting. You had 2 types of damage mitigation where you had to understand if your opponent was using physical or magical damage. That's no longer a thing. Now it just has generic mitigation. Scythe there is a class with a scythe, by the way. We'll get there. It's in the DPS. Dark Knight uses a 2-handed sword. They channel darkness to get stronger, and then use darkness to mitigate damage, lowering their power. They used to be really good for DPS. They used to be really good for a lot of things. Now I'm putting them at a B tier. I don't hate them. I still like them. They're not as cool as they used to be. Gunbreaker, solid A. If you like Squall or Cypher or Lightning, I guess even, from the other Final Fantasy games, you like these characters who use a gun sword. These guys use the Cypher and Squall version of the Gunblade, where you swing it, you pull the trigger, it explodes, vibrating the blade for more damage. It's not the sort that can shoot, even though they do have a move that shoots, which is contradictory to everything else they say. But whatever. It's whatever. Very neat. It's got story implications. So again, it's kind of one of those ones I don't want to go too much into the story. But yeah, I don't know. Their bullets are powered by ether, just like mages. So they fill their bullets with their own magic, and yeah, they're just really tough. There's not a whole lot to say about them lore-wise, outside of the little story bits I'm not going to go into. Oh, I put the wrong thing. This was rogue. I put the wrong symbol there. Don't worry about that. That was the blue mage one that I put up there. Alright, now we're going to do the last of the healers. Do you like divination? Do you like seeing into the future? Do you like having tarot cards as part of your mechanics? Welcome to Astrologian. Used to be a really complicated healing class that was a proactive healing, or that's for the blue mage. Yeah. So they have 2 modes for, well, they had 3 modes. I don't even know how many modes they have now. Man, it was so complicated at first. They had, I think it's 12 major arcana cards that they get to use. And they each had different abilities, so you had to kind of keep a list. And each one was used for a different part of your... What the hell? Whatever, it doesn't matter. A different part of your party. Ad break is starting soon. Okay. Oh, well, I'm going to talk about this while the ads are going because it's just anecdotal and it has nothing to do with this. Couple things. One, you have in-game astrology, so you get your own zodiac that has no effect. It's not like Final Fantasy Tactics, but it does come up at certain times throughout the astrologer's quest line. But I used to do tarot readings in real life back because there was a guy who taught me how to read tarot on a train, which is kind of funny. I don't know if I've ever talked about that, but we used to, in a summer school class, I used to ride a train around the States. And one day we met a guy who was traveling to school who was doing tarot readings, and he taught me how to do it. I took that ability years and years later onto Final Fantasy XIV while I was playing an astrologer and was reading people's tarot live, and they would give me gil. And I didn't ask for that. I was just doing it to play my character as a role play, because it's kind of neat. But they went into the role play and they're like, here is your pay, fortune teller. Yeah, it was pretty fun. And I would use my real tarot cards. I wasn't doing like the in-game tarot because there's not enough of them. But yeah, it was kind of fun. And like I got to interact with a lot of neat people because of it. I got to meet people I normally probably wouldn't have met. A lot of really neat stuff came out of that, and I thought it was really cool. And I made a lot of gil. Pleasant little side effect. But yeah, it was neat. And their weapon is an astrolabe. That's fair. I don't remember all of them either. I have it all written down, and I pull out my notebook every single time I do a tarot reading. Like, I don't remember most of them. I know death is about change. It's not about death. I remember that one off the top of my head. I remember that the priestess is a strong feminine presence and has to do with some positive things. But yeah, I don't remember a lot of it at all. Ad break is finished now. Welcome back from ad jail. Oh, and the lovers is about someone else, but not necessarily love. It's about something that's tied to you. Someone else is tied to you. It can be family or whatever. Different thing. Doesn't matter. We're getting into this. Back into it. Astrologian as a class used to have a really complicated system where each card affected how you would want to use it. It would restore people's SP, stamina points, which aren't even in the game anymore. How did you get the moon twice? Were you doing some sort of reading where you put the cards back in? Anyways, they dumbed it down. Now there's 6 cards. Each one has 2 effects on it. And so you only have to remember the symbol. Nah, we rolled. Oh, gotcha. Okay. You didn't do actual cards. Got it. Makes sense. So yeah, now it's dumbed down a lot. But there are still 2 modes to it. And the reason they did that is to put it between the other 2 classes. Originally, White Mage was again an active healer, but it also would put regen. And then Scholars play a proactive with shields. Astrologian is able to switch between the 2 modes, so you got to fill the role that wasn't in the party. Or if you have 2 Astrologians, you both picked one. It was pretty good. And then they have party buffs and one enemy debuff ability. Pretty interesting. I liked it. Storyline, fine. Eventually, you do stuff where you're getting like other world astrology. Hey, if you ask me, I will recommend it. If you ask me to recommend a healing class, notice I like all the healing classes. I love playing healer. And next is my favorite class, period, the Scholar. I'm just going to go ahead and put it up here. It's my S-class healer. Without a question, if anyone asks me what class you should play, and I ask if you like playing healer at all, this is the class I'll tell you. Or the job I'll tell you. Scholar! Really, really, really interesting storyline where you interact with ancient scholars from the advanced technology past future world that have all been turned into tonberries, and they heal by summoning fairies from their the sun and the moon. They actively heal by putting up shields, and they also have the ability to channel aether from the area around them to increase their healing. They have the coolest looking move where they temporarily boost everyone's Tonberry magic. Indeed, you are literally using Tonberry magic. And you actually, in the storyline, nope, not going to tell you more. Just know that Tonberries, you get to interact directly with them. I won't say any more. They have a really cool move where they get to raise the entire party's crit rate. And if you've ever seen Log Horizon, it looks like the main character analyzing the battlefield when you do it. So that's really cool. The Scholar is in the Tonberries that you teach you. You find out that the Scholar is the tactician. So they're kind of like they're the people who plan out the battles. And so, like, the storyline has a lot of you learning how to be that type of healer, like the shot caller type of healer. We're talking about the jobs and classes of Final Fantasy XIV. Also, what's up, Wally? Also, I'm a VTuber right now because Phil decided I should be a VTuber. But yeah, so very fun. I love that class. It is my favorite class. It has 2 fairies that you summon. It actually has 3 fairies that you summon, but it has 2 fairies that you summon. And they made them... Originally, they had 2 different purposes. One would be, you would summon it, it would do buffs on your team. The other one would heal your team while you're doing stuff. Now they do the same thing. The buff one doesn't do anything. Really, really makes me sad. I really loved that fairy specifically. In fact, I still summon that fairy because you can still summon it. Because it was my partner. We got through so much by me buffing the party constantly. Really good. Really sad to see it gone. Whatever. It's the past. Now, that's all of those. I'm going to talk about the evolution. So, Scholar came from Arcanists. Arcanists being the ones that summoned carbuncles. Once you became a Scholar and learned the ancient Tonberry magic, instead of summoning carbuncles, you summon fairies. However, there's another path for the Arcanists. If the Arcanists were to interact with the primals. If you don't know what the primals are in Final Fantasy XIV, they are the summons of the other games. So Ifrit, Shiva, Titan, Rama, Bahamut, Doom Train, and a primal is a summon that is a god, a minor god, created by conjuring everyone's beliefs into pure aether. No Neo-Bahamut asterisks. No Neo-Bahamut in the basic storyline. There is an alternate Bahamut fight that you can go through by doing the Bard's Tales. So, no Neo-Bahamut asterisks. But anyways, as you attune your Aether to that of the Primals, you can learn to conjure a miniature one using your own. These are called Aegis, E-G-I, Aegis. And at first you get access to 3. Well, at first you get access to 1 at a time. You get Ifrit, then you get Titan, and then you get Garuda. Or maybe Ifrit, Garuda, and then Titan. They each serve different purposes. Ifrit is a damage and debuffer. Garuda is a move your opponent's like area control, damage over time. And Titan was a tank. I don't know if those are all still a thing. Or yeah, that's a joke that's made quite a bit. And there's even a joke to that made in the game with one of the quests, because there's a whole lot of puns and jokes made with the quest names. It's actually great pop culture references made all over the place in the game. Anyways, so you learn how to create your own versions of these summons, and they do things. They used to be, you controlled them separately, now they're just part of your moves. It would depend on which one you have, depends on which moves you have access to. In the second part of the game, you have to go and interact with Bahamut because you learn how to conjure Bahamut's powers. You do, however, learn Bahamut is too strong of a summon for you to make personally, so you actually just change part of your body into him, and then later, you learn how to actually conjure Bahamut, a miniature Bahamut, for a limited time instead of a full-on time. And then there's also some stuff with Phoenix, and Rama has some stuff. You don't get to summon Rama, but some of the other summoners in the story get to summon Rama, and so there's a lot of different stuff. And I love... You change part of your body, not your whole body. You conjure up part of him to launch Giga Flare. Because of course you're launching Giga Flare. You have never played 14. It's got a free trial. If you've never played the subscription, play it for free. You get all the way up until the newest DLC. There's no level cap. I mean, there is a level cap up until the DLC. So you get to go up to level 90. You get to go through all of the story up until the newest DLC. You can't join a guild, but who cares if you're just trying to do the story. But yeah, you get everything without having to pay the subscription as far as the story goes. So you can experience the whole thing for free as long as you've never paid for the subscription. I would play on the free trial version if I could, but I can't because, well, I've paid for the subscription before. The Bard. We're going to talk about the Bard next, Phil. You may still like the Bard. Even if you don't like the Archer, you may like the Bard. But yeah, so we're gonna put this up here. I recommend Summoner. If you ask me, though, I won't tell you to play Summoner if you don't ask me. You know what? Let's talk about the Bard. At the end of the Archer story, you find out that some people have, lots of people throughout history have plucked music on the battlefield to increase people's morale. And you go out and find someone who knows this ancient arts. And the Bard gets to be a mixture of an archer. You get to play the Bardcher. You get to use your bow. You get to use all of the poisons and everything. You got to play as an archer. You get the dots and everything. You get the cool overshoots and stuff. You get upgraded versions of all of them. But more importantly, you get to play songs. And each song has an effect. One of them restores everyone's slowly restores everyone's MP, so everyone's magic comes back. So if you're with a bunch of casters, that's really useful. One of them slowly restores everyone's HP. One of them makes it where your enemies take more damage. One of them makes it where your team takes less damage. And then you can conjure your music into your arrow to do extra damage based on the song you're playing. It's a very deep and complex gameplay loop, which is so crazy good compared to the Archer that it's crazy that the Archer is such a bad, boring class, because the Bard is really interesting. It's also one of the classes that in the older parts of the game, you were originally able to run parts of the game with just a group of bards because of how complex their song system was. So yeah, I wouldn't say give up on Bard, especially since you can get through the Archer story pretty quickly. Yeah, I really think it's cool. The Bard itself, really cool. Archer, crap. Bard, really cool. Bard, I recommend. Bard, if anyone wants to know, I think Bard is one of the coolest classes and one of the most in-depth classes. Let me do the other ranged DPS, because there's only one other. Oh no, there's two. We'll do both of them. Okay. If you like guns, if you like mines, if you like turrets, if you like what are they called in what are the magic engineers in D&D? Wow, I can't think what they're called. Artificers. If you like artificers, the Mechanist is for you. You are a gunslinger who carries a flamethrower in your pocket. You get to throw out turrets that shoot from different directions and have buffs for your team. You get to throw grenades that move things around. You use a gun and lightning, and you use technology that is based on ancient future tech, and it's really neat. Yeah, really cool class. Kind of bad, honestly. Unfortunately, they keep trying to make it work, and they'll make it really, really too strong for a moment and then nerf it back down to being not very good. If you ask me if you should play it, I would say yes. Maybe, if it sounds really cool. So I'm going to put this in C. I wanted it to be as good as it sounds. Unfortunately, it's kind of not. It's really cool. It's really awesome. But it's mechanically not as good. That being said, the worst class, okay, and the best class are both completely viable and everything, unless you're doing the newest high-end raid where you have like a specific time limit or you will fail, so you have to have everything perfect. That's the only time Mechanist isn't good enough. So yeah, I would say, if you ask me should I play this, I would say yeah, go ahead and play it if it sounds cool. If you're asking should I play this because I'll be really efficient, no, not so much. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be. Not everything can be best. And then we have the newest range class, which is the Dancer. And the Dancer is a combination support and range damage. Kind of like the Bard, but in their own way. They choose a singular dance partner, which is normally your other DPS in a 4-man dungeon, or the one that you think is going to do the most damage in an 8-man dungeon or a 16 or 32-man raid. You want to choose a target that you think, hey, this guy is going to push out damage. And then your attacks are all juggling moves. So you're doing cascades, reverse cascades, boxes, waterfalls. You're doing all these juggling moves, and as you do, you build up your dance, and then you complete your dance, which then creates a buff for you and your dance partner, and then you both do more damage for a while, or you move faster, or you restore health. And then they have a thing that moves their dance to the whole party temporarily, and so they're really, really nice to have one of in your party. They are I like them. They're good. Let's talk about casters. talk about casters. We did the summoner already, but let's talk about the other ones. Black Mage. Do you want to do the most damage? Period. Do you want a rotation that's not going to change once you get it perfectly figured out, but it'll change completely every 5 levels until you're max level? Do you want to be the fireball launcher of the party and make it where nobody can see because everything's on fire? If you answered yes to at least 2 of these, play Black Mage. Black Mage is the powers of elements incarnate. You are a walking ball of ether and destruction and magic and death.
I didn't ask how big the room was.
Yes.
I didn't ask if we had finished
Yes.
evacuating the orphans. I said I cast fireball.
Exactly. Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells.
Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells. One, two, three, four. I declare a wizard war.
I cast Fireball.
Fireball, of course, launches a small mote of flame from your fingertip, a small bead of orange. Once it reaches its destination, it detonates into a 20-foot radius of flame
That's hacked by the
that
H2O.
bursts and does XD6, depending on which edition you're in. And to counter that, I am going to cast a admixtured fireball that's actually a cold, and it will counter out your fireball with a cold ball. So a big shard of ice that does the same thing as your fireball. Cheers. Yeah. Rusty. So, yeah, a Black Mage, it's the most selfish class. Nothing it does anything besides damage. There's no debuffs, there's no healing your teammates, there's no making your teammates do more damage. All you do is shit out damage, which means you do the most damage because that's all you do. So yeah, if you like that, I would say I would recommend this class. I think that puts it as a B tier for me because it is so selfish, and I like to play support. But I think it's really good. Actually, I would actually put it as a C tier. I'm not a big fan. So, elemental coverage used to be a thing that mattered back in the day, and they had fire, ice, lightning, dark. I think that's it. They took that out though. That's not a thing in the game anymore. But it would have really good elemental coverage in theory if that was still a thing. Also, back whenever that was a thing, they also had the ability to steal Arrow and Quake from the White Mage list. And so they actually had like the complete coverage of everything besides Holy. But they don't have that anymore. They do have a water spell, and that is just a move things. I guess it's the only form of utilities that you can blast your opponent with water and push it back 10 feet. 10 fulms. Sorry, fulms. It does not matter anymore. Yeah, back in the day, the thing is, they simplified a lot of stuff. Like I said, the Dark Knight used to be a lot more interesting before they simplified it. Astrologian used to be a lot more interesting. Summoner used to actively have to control your summons. And so knowing elemental damages were important, which also made your rotation a little bit more interesting because fire... fire makes it where your spells deal more damage. Fire stacks where you're building fire ether inside of you makes you do more damage, but you use up more of your MP. Ice makes you do slightly less damage, but restores your MP quickly, and so you had to do a better job of juggling that whenever it wasn't just follow the rotation, because elemental mattered a little. And so if you weren't fighting something weak to ice, you wanted to be in ice as minimal of a time as possible, because you only want to do that to restore your MP. Now ice is a full rotation. You get through it completely, which is fine. I don't think it's awful. I just think it was more interesting when that stuff mattered. Also, you don't have to worry about it for yourself anymore, though. Used to, if something was hitting you with lightning damage, you could put armor to make lightning damage less effective. But that's no longer a thing either. That's gone. Now it's just damage. Which, that part disappoints me more than my damage not mattering. My typing not mattering anymore, because it was kind of neat to be able to plan ahead for the dungeon you were doing and making sure you had gear to cover whatever the boss was doing. But again, it's simplified. They want it to be more approachable for everyone. I understand. I don't necessarily agree, but I understand. Okay, that was that. What am I missing caster wise? Red mage and blue mage. All right, let's do red mage. Red mage is red mage. Red mage does both in black and white magic. And it does a really cool thing where your goal is to be balanced between your dark and light magic. So you switch between the two. They each have different types of effects, and you want to keep in balance, unless you're at really high level where there are bonuses for being out of balance. The problem is you have to build your bar completely, your dark and light balances. You have to build each type all the way up to use your strongest moves with your rapier, because this is also a spell blade. You get to do all your casting. Yes. I think I have those backwards though. I think this is black mage and this is thaumaturge. Which is funny that I put those that way, but I think this is actually black mage. I think I did those backwards. But yeah, red mage, my favorite DPS class. Period. I said bard is one of my favorites. Red mage is my favorite. Red mage, you have it's got three really cool mechanics to it. So when you cast a spell, your next spell you cast without a cast time. So you get to double cast, essentially. So you charge up your first spell, and then you instantly launch your next spell. Which allows you to, like, machine gun certain things out, and you have a move that lets you quick cast a spell, plus you get a generic one that lets you do that for all casters. So you get to rapid fire temporarily. And then, more importantly though, because you do have black and white magic, you have access to a heal, which is mediocre, but more importantly, you are one of two DPS classes with a res. The other one being summoner. Summoner ain't using their MP to summon or to heal their teammates if they don't have to. Red mage, more like res mage. Our biggest job on a thing is to double cast a res. So you quick cast a res and then double cast a res on the second person if people are dying quickly. You can just bop bop, two people are up again. Really good. So anyways, that builds up white magic, and again you need to alter it with your black magic so that way you don't get out of balance. Once you get too far out of balance, it becomes harder to gain the other one. So if you have too much black magic, you can't get as much white magic, or vice versa, which then makes it harder to use your melee part, which is actually the strongest part of your kit. Once you have your bar full, you can launch yourself at the enemy using magic, and then your blade is now enchanted by a mixture of dark and light magic. And you're using a rapier, and you're doing really cool flashy moves, and then after you've used it all up, you do a backflip, take yourself way far away, and go back to casting. Really neat class. Beautiful. It also has the prettiest, flashiest biggest limit break of them all, to the point where you will get kicked out of certain raids if you use it, because it's so bad that people in all 3 parties cannot see because of the red mage's limit break. So you can actually just cause people to die because they can't see. So yeah, I like red mage. It's my favorite DPS. By far. And then we have blue mage. Blue mage is really neat in this game. Blue mage, you have to get hit by abilities to learn them. There is a list. You get a list. It has something like 300 spells in total. Also, limit breaks are really cool in Final Fantasy XIV, since you guys aren't longtime players and don't know. Your party shares a limit break gauge. Once it's full, one person can use it, and each class has a different, each job and class, but more each classification. So DPS, if you're ranged DPS, melee DPS, or caster, and then tanks, and then healers, until you get to limit break level 3, they're all the same. And so, like, ranged DPS, you shoot a piercing shot through a line of enemies. Melee DPS does a big single hit and like Braver style hit on a single enemy, and then mage drops a meteor on your opponents. Yes, so blue mage is actually not allowed in basic dungeon play because they are so strong, which is kind of funny. So you survive moves. The funny part is you can learn at level 1, you can learn moves that are like taught by level 90 bosses or enemies if you have a teammate put a barrier on you that can make you survive the damage. So they can literally learn spells that are so powerful they delete enemies. More importantly, they have a move that does percentile damage, and if you time it, you can have 5 red mage or blue mages activate it and instantly delete an enemy by doing 5 instances of 20% damage at the same second. Now that is a trick. You do have to time it perfectly so that the thing, but there's a game mechanic that lets you line things up because there's music, and so you have to be able to line up timings. Yeah, it's fun. And you can bring them into any dungeon. You just can't do it on the party finder or the duty finder. You have to make a pre-made party, which I don't know if you can do on the free mode. You can join a party. I don't think you can make a party, so someone would have to invite you into the party to do it, I think. But yeah, it's fun. It's cool. And there's a lot of really cool... They have so many different abilities that are really cool. And again, it's like they can do any role. They learn spells that let them play a tank as a caster. It's crazy. I love them. They're so cool. They are a joke though. They only get B because they aren't designed to be played normally. What is that class? What am I... When did I put ninja up here? Welcome back from ad break. Oh, that was supposed to be dancer. I see. I just grabbed the wrong one. Okay, welcome back, and let's get into the next one. Duo, are you still there? Because we're going to talk about the Reaper. The Reaper is a demon-possessed warrior who uses a scythe. And I'm not exaggerating when I say you're possessed by a demon. That is correct. Those are the ones remaining, yes. Reaper is a demon-possessed... Well, possessed... You let the demon into your body to help you fight, and then you can summon it. And then you have a scythe. And you get the ability to rip open a dimensional hole and teleport as one of your moves. It's a very dark art. It's actually tied lore-wise in with the Dark Knight. You're using similar types of abilities where you're allowing the darkness of your ether to create horrible, horrible things. Yeah, it's really neat, actually. Very heavy metal. I don't like melee DPS. This is my least favorite melee DPS. I'm sorry to say that, because this is something, it's really cool. I don't like it. And that's on a personal level. This is my tier list. It is not bad. It is just not for me. There's just, as cool as it is, and it does a lot of damage, it just doesn't do anything for me. And that's okay. Yes, you do actually have that ability, Phil. Next we have Monk. Monk. The class that is either too strong or too weak at any given time and never balanced. Monk gets to do some crazy bullshit. They still have the balancing of their ki, and then they gain the ability to balance their chakras, and then they get the ability to stun your enemy, throw them across the world. You get to suplex a train. Like, they do so much crazy stuff, and they're still either way too strong or they do absolutely nothing. I think they're really neat. I don't play them. Again, I don't like melee DPS. I think I like this one better than the Reaper because it's got some more cool stuff going on with the story, and it's a little bit more interesting mechanically. The Reaper does have the stuff with its demon, but I don't know. I like this one a little bit better. Dragoon. The floor tank of all floor tanks. You are face down on the ground all of the time if you're playing it wrong, because all of your moves animate lock you, which means if they go on too long and you don't have time to get out of that AoE that is projected on the ground, you are eating the damage and everyone's looking at you because you're a fucking moron. They have 2 moves designed to help you get out of those situations. You'll probably jump off the map and die from falling down in a hole. I think it's funny. It's actually not bad as a class. They build up their connection to a literal dragon. You have the eye of a dragon, which is where all the dragon's power is stored in Final Fantasy XIV, is in their eyes. You have, I think it's Nidhogg's eye. I think, if I remember correctly. It's really cool. Nice. Dragoon is really cool. Really fucking cool. You get to summon dragon heads to launch them out of your spear at your enemy. You get to fly through the sky and smash into your enemy. What's up, Kelly? But yeah, it's interesting. I like how I'm still in art, even though what we're doing is a tier list, but whatever. Thank you for the follow, R. Kelly. R67 Kelly. Enjoy those free emotes while you're in here. Those are of my boy, Maverick. Dragoon, really cool, really flashy, really does a lot of stuff. It has some debuffs it applies, it does some stuns, it does some interrupts. It's a really cool class. Way cooler than the Lancer. I put it in D. Oop, in the wrong spot. I think it's really good. I don't like playing it. Ninja, do you want to be the characters from Naruto? Do you want to do hand seals and create jutsus? Do you want to accidentally fuck up those jutsus and have a frog appear on your head and call you an idiot? Play Ninja. Ninja gets to do all the cool stuff the Rogue does. They can teleport around. They have a really potentially complex gameplay loop of you have to actually manually input your hand signs for your jutsus. Once you learn them, you'll never have to worry about it. And you have to do them in the right order in the moment of all the stuff going on. Like it can be very hectic. It can be very crazy. Very cool. I love it. It's one of the only melee classes that I think is worth playing for me because it's so mechanically interesting.
They have some of the best debuffs, and they used to at least have some of the best debuffs in the game. They have the ability to turn invisible and do sneak attacks in the middle of a battle. They have an ability that allows them to do more damage to things that are almost dead as an assassination ability. They can do a lot of the cool, like, they're straight up Naruto ninjas. Like, they can do a Chidori style move and a fireball style move. So yeah, I think they're pretty neat. I put them in a B. And then Samurai. I wanted to love this. I have done Kinjutsu, not Kendo. I mean, I know Kendo is Kinjutsu, but I've never done, like, competitive Kendo. I've done Kinjutsu with Ogawa Ryu no Kinjutsu in Kansas City at one point. And the katanas are pretty nice. They look like katanas at first. And you build up your inner eye. You build up 3 different versions that empower your next move. If you build up which inner energies you use, you get different abilities based on it. On your EI Jutsu, your quick draw, you get different abilities. Really mechanically neat. Didn't like it that much though, and I was really sad because it's such a pretty class. It's relevant to the story in Stormblood. So many cool things about it, and it just didn't quite resonate with me, which made me really sad. We're gonna put this as a C class or C tier. I thought it was cool. I think if you like melee DPS, you would put it much higher, probably A tier, because it is very interesting. There is interesting mechanics with it. It's very flashy, very pretty. Again, it's just not me. It's just not my thing. So there's the list. Oh gosh, everything just tried to freeze on my computer. Is that it? There we go. Oh my god, why is... This is suddenly making my computer very unhappy. It's probably because I'm using my VTuber. There's a tier list if you guys want to do it yourself. I know most of you haven't played Final Fantasy 14, so don't feel any pressure to do so. But if you do, if you look into it and you decide to do it, feel free to throw those into my Discord like normal, !Discord if you're not already involved. This is what we did today, Wally, since you weren't here. We did some more panels. Can I zoom out, please? So this is what we did. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh gosh, I have fingerprints all over my glasses. I just took them off for a second. I must have just touched them just wrong. Oh, much better. Boop. My hand. Boop. Hand cam. Look, it's my hand! Alright. That's been... We're almost at the 4-hour mark, so that was perfect. That was a great way to fill the rest of the time of the stream. That's a little early, but we're going to raid out. Wally, you showed up late. I don't know if you have anyone you watch, but if there is if there's someone you would like to raid out to, let me know. If not, I definitely have people we can raid into. I always do, but... you know, I always like to let the people who show up a little bit later. I was not going to raid into Nyx. I can if you would like that. I was planning on raiding Scribe because it's their stream anniversary. Final Fantasy mood. I love Final Fantasy. I wish I had a free. I mean, I could sign up with a new email, and we could do a whole thing where all of us play the free to play mode together. Yeah, no worries. All right, we're gonna raid into Scribe if no one's got anything else for that. Also, two things, Wally. One, she's already said she's probably down for it, but if you want to see Wifey in any future streams, go on the Discord and make sure you interact with our suggested post. In my suggestions, I mean, Udon posted that he wants to see Wifey. The more interaction she says, the more likely she is to say yes. She's already said yes, but if you want to show your support for that, go in and do that on the Discord. Also, if you're interested, July 19th is my birthday. We're going to do a longer stream. Okay, you already did. Cool. Going to do a longer stream. We're going to be doing a thing where if anyone else wants to join in and do art together, we'll have one canvas and everyone will be able to draw on it. I don't know how many people everyone will be because I haven't tested the limits of the site, but that's what we're going to do July 19th. Tomorrow we're doing a collab with a bunch of people. We're playing Crab Game, I think is what it's called, which is a Squid Game knockoff, I guess. It's going to be later than normal. I'm not doing D&D because I have my wife's aunt's birthday. I don't remember how old she's turning, but she's an amazing lady with Down syndrome, so we're celebrating for her. For sure. That being said, that's all I've got for you guys. Thank you guys for being with me. Thank you for letting me be part of your evening. We only get some hours a day. You chose to spend some of that time with me, and I hope you guys know how much I appreciate you for that. That being said, tomorrow, again, collab. I hope to see you guys there. If not, I understand. Big love, everyone. Bye. Make sure you show Scribe all the love.